welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to start our webinar with East Cheshire Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust. And let's go to the second slide, Ines, please. I'm going to start introducing myself. My name is Jamie. I am one of the senior project managers at NEU Professionals. I am a Spanish critical care nurse who came to the UK back in 2013. And I've been working in the UK for 6 years. I came to the UK, funny enough, I came to the UK with NEU Professionals. And now I am working for them and I am in charge of leading projects. So I know the ins and outs of coming to the UK to work as a nurse. I'm going to be the main speaker today, but with me, I've got my colleague Craig, another project manager at NEU Professionals. Craig, you want to talk about yourself?
Briefly, I'm Craig. I am, as Jaime said, a project manager at NEU Professionals, and looking forward to helping all of you in whatever way we can to emigrate and with East Cheshire Hospital.
Thank you very much, Craig. Gemma, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. My name's Gemma. I'm the recruitment manager over at East Cheshire NHS Trust in the wonderful part of Macclesfield here in the UK. Really great to see so many of you on the call this evening, and looking forward to maybe speaking to one or two of you if you've got any questions or anything. We've got lots to tell you about working here at East Cheshire. So yeah, we hope you are excited as we are to welcome you.
Hi, I think it's me next. I'm Julie Brown. I'm the Clinical Professional Development Training Manager. I work in our professional practice team. I predominantly look after you in the classroom setting, after the OSCE, and preparing you on all the clinical skills that you need that are not covered in the OSCE to work safely on the wards. I work very closely with my colleague Dawn, who'll introduce herself in a minute, and I do things like medical devices as well as the clinical skills.
Thank you, Julie. So my name's Dawn. You probably couldn't actually fit my full title on that slide, to be honest. So I'm the lead for practice development, and I also manage the clinical simulation team. So you would see me and my colleague Ben and Holly. We would work alongside you out in clinical practice, supporting you with things like competencies or any sort of clinical issues or things you were a bit concerned about. We would come out and work alongside you to hopefully get you a little bit more confident, because we do appreciate there's a big change with things that you do at home to things that happen over at East Cheshire. You also might see me down in the clinical simulation area, so that if you perhaps need a little bit more practice with something, we could bring you down and we can create a very realistic situation for you to have a go at doing. It might be something to do with medication, it might be something to do with a clinical situation, and we can work through it safely with you there. So you might see me in multiple different places.
Excellent. Emmanuel, if you want to talk about yourself a little bit.
Yes, of course. My name is Emmanuel. I'm one of the international nurses. I was recruited last year. I was part of the first cohort. I'm currently working as a staff nurse on Ward 2, East Cheshire NHS Trust, Macclesfield District General Hospital, to be precise. I've had the opportunity to, go through the hands of Julie Brown and the rest of the team, and I can gladly say that I am enjoying my work at the ward at the moment. So yeah, I wanted to be part of this to share my experience.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel. We really appreciate that. Do we have Vicky? No? I cannot see her. I don't know if she is back. If not, it's fine. She can join us anytime. So let's move on to the next slide, Ines, please. Oh, she is. Vicky, feel free to interrupt us anytime and to talk whenever you want. You're more than welcome. So who are we? Who is NEU Professionals? So we are an international recruitment company. We are mainly focused on recruiting nurses from all across the globe to come to the UK, but we are also working with midwives, mental health nurses, healthcare assistants. We are working with many different specialties at the moment, but today our main focus is going to be in nurses, most specifically medical surgical nurses. So we were formed back in 2013, and the main idea behind the creation of NEU Professionals was to provide the highest service and always focus on providing the best pastoral care possible. This is also explained by the fact that most of our workforce are nurses who at some point migrated to the UK. So most of us have been in your shoes. So most of us have been there, and we understand what it means coming to the UK and the whole journey. So that's something that we are very proud of our pastoral care. At present, we have been growing a lot as a company, and we are one of the UK's leading recruitment companies. We are very, very heavily regulated, and we have a partnership with NHS employers and UKVI. We work close together with them, and we follow obviously their regulations and guidelines. We are an awarded supplier by the NHS workforce, another one of these regulatory bodies to which we have to comply with. We've got great partnerships and prestigious clientele like East Cheshire Hospital. We also work with Cambridge, we work with Oxford, with London. We work with very, very good clients as the one we are presenting today. And one of the best things that you will find at NEU Professionals is that we are 100% free. So we are never going to charge you any hidden fees. There is nothing that we are not going to ask you for money at any time. We work for the trust, so you will never be expected to pay anything to us. This is obviously part of the ethical recruitment and the ethical recruitment protocol and guideline that we have to follow, put in place by NHS employers. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Let's go to the next slide, please. So what are we offering at NEU Professionals? When you apply with us, your application will come to a centralized email account, which is edit@neuprofessionals.co.uk. But then as soon as we receive it, we are going to allocate you to one of our recruitment consultants. This recruitment consultant will be with you throughout the whole process, from the very, very beginning until the point that you have arrived to East Cheshire, you are with the trust, and they are already looking after you. Even with that, we will still be there for you. We will help you bring in your relatives, and we will help you with their visas. And at any time, you can get in touch with us in case you have any doubts or you need any support. We'll be more than happy to provide it to you. The reason behind having a single person looking after you is that you are more likely to develop bonds with that person. You're going to trust each other. That person is going to understand much better your situation, because the idea is that we will tailor the recruitment experience to your needs and to your goals. As I've mentioned, we are going to assist you with every part of the recruitment process. We will provide you with access to a library of training materials for both interview preparation, to prepare for a value-based interview, but also to prepare for your CBT and even some materials to train for OSCE. As mentioned before, we will support you with the family relocation, and the support continues upon arriving to the UK. Next slide, please. So the NHS employers, one of these regulatory bodies that we have to comply with, they have got a list of developing countries This list of developing countries is the one that you can see in the screen. If you are currently living in one of these countries, we cannot recruit from your country, because that could mean that the healthcare professional to habitant ratio could be below the average that the World Health Organization wants, and that could put your country into some difficulties. So we are very sorry if you are living in any of the countries that you can see in the screen, and you can see this list in the webpage of NHS employers. We cannot accept your application. Let's go to the next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about things that we will need in order to start this process. So we need to register with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, which is the nursing regulatory body in the UK. Things that they are going to ask you for. They are going to ask you for an English language certificate. There are only 2 certificates that they take as valid: IELTS, which has to be academic, and OET. So you can have either one or the other. It doesn't matter. IELTS or OET, it has to be one or the other. You don't need to have both. The same for the United Kingdom visas and immigration. You only need to have one of those 2. So you will need to take this test, and you can have, for both IELTS and OET, you need to have the score that you see in the screen. For IELTS, you need to have at least 6.5 in writing and 7 in listening, speaking, and reading. For OET, it changes the way that they score, but it's kind of the same. So you need to have C+ for writing, and then B or more for listening, speaking, and reading. If you don't achieve 6.5, let's talk about IELTS. If you don't achieve 6.5 in writing or 7 across the board, you can take another test. You can take a second test within 6 months of the first one. And if you achieve, in the part that you were failing, you achieve a 7 or more, those 2 tests can potentially be combined. You will find more information about this in the NMC English accepted English tests page. And the same happens with OET. You need to have at least B for reading, speaking, listening, and C+ for writing. But if you don't achieve B in speaking in a first test, and then in a second test that you take within 6 months, you achieve B in speaking, but you don't achieve B in listening, you can combine those 2 tests, and that will be taken as a valid proof of English language. I know it's a bit confusing, so please go to the NMC webpage, to the tab where it talks about accepted English language tests. You will obviously need a nursing degree at a post-secondary level that leads to a registration as a nurse or midwife in your country. The NMC will ask you for a series of items and a series of tests that you need to pass in order to be able to work as a nurse in the UK. So we're going to see that they will ask for an evaluation fee. You will need to pass a CBT exam, which is a computer-based test exam, which is about nursing knowledge. You will need to pass an OSCE exam. The OSCE exam is something that you will have to do once you are in the UK. You will need to pay the NMC registration fee. And all of this in total is £1,170, which is a lot. Let's not lie, this is a lot. So how can we handle this? You will need to pay for 2 things. You will need to pay, well, you will need to pay for a few things. You will need to pay for the registration fee. You will need to pay for your IELTS or OET, unless you live in one of the English-speaking countries. There is a list, once again, of English-speaking countries in the NMC webpage. But basically, if the mother language of your country is English, you don't need to take any of these tests. I've just seen somebody coming from Trinidad and Tobago. You, for instance, wouldn't have to take this test. You will need to pay for the CBT, and you will need to pay for the evaluation fee. The OSCE exam, you don't need to pay for it. The first sitting of the OSCE exam will be paid by the trust. So you can forget about those £800. What you need to pay is the evaluation fee, CBT exam, and registration fee. You will need to pay that to the NMC. And when you arrive to the UK, you are going to be paid that money back. Again, the OSCE is paid by the trust. I know it can be a bit confusing, but we can talk about this as much as you want. Let's move on to the next slide, Ines, please. As mentioned before, these are the countries that are exempted from the English language test. These are countries that are obviously using English as their vehicular language. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So, okay, you're going to end up fed up of my voice, but I'm going to explain how this whole process is, and I'm going to try and be as detailed as possible. So you will first need to register with the NMC, and you will start with the evaluation stage. You will see a series of boxes that you need to get a green tick on them. The first step is the NMC evaluation. The second one will be taking your CBT exam. That's with the NMC. With us, you are going to send us an email to edit@neoprofessionals.co.uk or apply through our webpage. We will assign you a recruitment consultant. This recruitment consultant will do several calls with you to get to know you a bit better, to explain to you about the process, and to guide you towards the interview. You will do your interview with the trust, and once you have passed your interview, you are going to start gathering what we call pre-employment checks. One of the pre-employment checks that we are going to need is the English language results, so the IELTS or OET. Once we have all of these documents ready, we will get a certificate of sponsorship from the trust, which will be used for a visa application. You will apply for your visa, you will attend a biometric center, and within a few weeks, you're going to receive your passport with the visa to the UK. This is a visa that lasts 3 years and can be renewed after those 3 years. Once we've got your visa, we are going to look at the best possible flights for you and the best combination, and we will book your flights. You arrive to the UK. When you arrive to the UK, we will have either a taxi or a bus, a transport ready for you to go from the airport to the hospital accommodation, or the accommodation, the facilities where you are going to undertake the OSCE training. And you're going to spend 5 to 6 weeks preparing for the OSCE exam. After that period, you will sit your OSCE exam. And once you pass it, the NMC will recognize you as a registered nurse. You will be able to work as a registered nurse in the UK, which corresponds to the Band 5 salary. Overall, depending on how long it might take you to gather all the documents, we might be talking about 10 to 12 weeks. So let's look at around 3 months. These can vary a lot. There are also some difficulties with the visas at the moment because of the war in Ukraine. And this process can be maybe a couple of weeks more. But we are talking about around 3 months for the whole process. Let's move on to the next slide, please. And this is for you, Craig.
Thank you very much. So we're talking about East Cheshire NHS Trust, and you can see on the map there whereabouts East Cheshire NHS Trust is situated. It is in an absolutely beautiful part of the country. Can we have the next slide, please, Ines? Right. East Cheshire. They provide a wide range of both hospital and community-based services across the East Cheshire area. The aim is to ensure that the patients that they deal with receive the best care in the right place. Now, the Trust, as you can see, it employs approximately 2,500 staff across its community settings and its 3 hospital sites, which are Macclesfield District General Hospital, Congleton War Memorial Hospital, and Knutsford and District Community Hospital. Have you anything to add to this, anyone from the Trust? Gemma, Dawn? Oh, okie dokie. Next slide then, please. Right, the Trust. The shared mission is to work in partnership to provide high quality, affordable, integrated services. There are a variety of learning and development opportunities. The Trust believes its workforce is its greatest asset. That's you guys. You are the greatest asset to the Trust, the workers. And the Trust will actively support the staff members to develop their capabilities to the full. So there are opportunities to enhance your skills, to grow, to learn, to be a better nurse. The Trust has been recently modernised in 2020. £900,000 redevelopment project to improve the outpatients department at Macclesfield Hospital was completed. And now it has an increased clinical space and an improved and modernised environment. So it's a much more conducive, nicer place to work. It has received a Care Quality Commission rating of good in 2019, a Patient Safety Award in 2018, and higher than average performance in areas such as overall staff engagement, staff motivation, and staff ability to contribute towards improvements at work, according to a recent NHS staff survey. Next slide, please. Vision. NHS Trust East Cheshire, to ensure that the patients receive the best care in the right place. The mission is to work in partnership to provide high quality, affordable, integrated services, and to treat each other with respect and dignity. Show compassion, improve lives, working together for the patients. They make everyone count. They have a great commitment to quality of care. Quality of care is what it is all about. Next slide, please. Here we can see some wonderful pictures which will be enticing for you to want to move to East Cheshire. Its headquarters in Macclesfield, northwest England. There are fantastic public transport services, buses, trains operating all across the region. And if you can see the third picture at the bottom there, you are on the doorstep of the Peak District, which is an absolutely beautiful area of the United Kingdom. You're also close to international airports, Manchester International Airport and Liverpool Airport. They're less than an hour's train ride away. And London is easy to reach in about a couple of hours on the public transport, on trains. The Trust's area, the hospitals within the Trust are in both rural and urban settings. So there's something for everyone. If you're a country person, then there are opportunities in more rural areas. And if you are the kind of person that wants to be at it in the big city, then there are opportunities for you too. Families, if you've got a family, it's a fantastic place and one of the more affordable areas of the country to live, really. Families are particularly well served. Lots and lots of beautiful towns and villages and attractions to go and visit on your days off, at the weekend, on the school holidays. It's absolutely beautiful. Have you anything to add to the wonder and beauty of the area in which you work? Anyone?
I would say that if you particularly like things like history, in the Northwest, we've an awful lot of historical buildings and museums, and you can learn a lot about sort of English culture. The other things that we've got is if you really enjoy walking, and I know, you know, working as a nurse, it can get quite busy and stressful, and your brain can be buzzing. So there are fantastic walks and places that you wouldn't even need to if you lived around sort of the area of the hospital, that you wouldn't even really need a car or to get on a bus to. Stuff is all within walking distance, and it certainly makes you feel better getting out in that fresh air.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that.
And I think as well that one of our things is the hospital, although it looks big, it's an extremely friendly hospital. And very quickly you get to know everybody. So if you're walking down the corridor, there's somebody from another ward will say hello to you. Or if you very soon know all the staff from the emergency department who maybe come and transfer the patients onto your wards when they need admitting to the hospital. So I say one of its best things is how friendly it is.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think we can go on to the next slide, please, Ines. Right. Once you have passed your OSCE, you will be a Band 5 nurse on a salary of £25,655. That's your base salary, based on 37.5 hours a week. Now, you're all nurses, you know that a week is not 37.5 hours, so there will be plenty of time, plenty of opportunity to earn a few extra pounds working some overtime. Unsocial hours and overtime is available, and it gets paid at an enhanced rate as well. You get 27 days of paid holiday plus 8 public holidays. You just missed the last one, which was the Easter Monday. I think this was mentioned before, but there are some fantastic, excellent opportunities for professional development. And of course, you can join up to the NHS pension scheme. The opportunities for maternity and paternity are there, but not during your first year. During your first year, you will not be eligible for maternity or paternity leave. However, you do get free healthcare. Next slide, please, Ines. Right. East Cheshire, looking for medical and surgical nurses at the moment. We want a nursing degree at post-secondary level, as Jamie was saying, leading to registration as a general nurse. You do need to provide proof of English language proficiency, as Jamie was mentioning earlier, in line with the Nursing and Midwifery Council's requirements. Your CBT passed or promptly booked after the interview. This is what we really want when you come to the interview. If you can have your CBT exam passed, fantastic. But at the very least, we really want it booked. And you're going to need to have a little bit of experience in an acute hospital setting. Recent experience with no gaps. Thank you very much. And the next slide, please. I think this is you, Jaime.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Thank you.
So, one of the beautiful things about nursing in the UK is how much you can develop. And these opportunities are there. And these opportunities are for everybody. Like in my case, I am a Spanish nurse. I came to the UK and, well, English is not my mother language. And I was new to the NHS. And it took me two to maybe 2.5 years to promote from band 5 to band 6. So the opportunities are there for you to grab them. When you arrive at the UK, you are going to be paid and you're going to be working as a band 5 registered nurse. This is kind of the standard across the UK. After spending some time working in the NHS, familiarizing yourself with your ward and familiarizing yourself with how things work in your hospital, you will see that you will have plenty of ramifications in your nursing career. It's not a straight line. It's got many, many different branches. For instance, if you want to be a diabetes specialist nurse or a tissue viability nurse, or you want to become an infection control nurse, you can do it. If you have your passion in any specific area, you can pursue it and you can become a band 6 specialist nurse. Or if you like management, you can become a deputy charge nurse or a deputy sister. And you can continue with that branch and you can become a ward manager, and then you can become a matron, and then you can become, so you can climb the ladder. And what if you don't like management and you are not sure where you would like to specialize at? You also have got teaching, and you can take your mentorship course and mentor nurses coming from the universities, but you can also become a clinical educator, which again is specializing and climbing this ladder, becoming a band 6, band 7. So you've got plenty of opportunities regardless of where you come from. Just remember, give yourself some time to get used to the system, to get used to their protocols, their guidelines, to get to know how things work in your hospital. And then at that point, think about where you want to be, and you can pursue that. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, Craig loves when I talk about this, but getting back to the fact that I have been there and most of my colleagues have been there, we understand that this is going to be a roller coaster of emotions. It's challenging. We're going to spend, as we have mentioned before, about 3 months together. And then when you arrive to the UK, the journey doesn't finish there. You still need to adapt to a new country, a new culture, a new language, a new environment. So we are going to be with you throughout the whole process. You are obviously very excited before your interview, and the day of your interview, we are going to be there with you, and we're going to be doing a pre-interview call with you to try and help you and calm down, because let's be honest, everybody is extremely nervous before an interview. But we are going to be there trying to help you and support you. Besides, the interviewers from East Cheshire are amazing. We love them. So you do your interview. After your interview, you are ecstatic. You are over the moon because you got the job. And now you need to gather the pre-employment checks. You need to gather a lot of documents. This can be a very long, tedious process. And it can be frustrating at times. And it can be annoying because you present a document and it's not in the right format, or it's missing a signature, or it's missing a little tick somewhere. And that's frustrating. And we understand it. And we're going to help you with that. The only reason why we are so, let's say, picky, but it's not picky, we want to have them right, is because we need to present these documents to the trust and UKBI, and they need to be in the right format. So we will help you during that process. Then we are going to help you during that moment of uncertainty, which is, okay, I've got a job, I've got the visa, I'm gonna go to the UK. What's next? So we are going to help you preparing for all of that preparation before going to the UK, letting you know what are the essentials that you need to gather and how to prepare for this new journey. Just a tip in advance, it rains and it's cold. Then we will book the flights. We will let you know when they are. We will find which ones are better for you. And when you arrive to the UK, we're going to be like Mama Duck. We will want to know when you are in the airport, when you are on board, when you arrive, when you take your taxi, when you are in the trust, because we understand how scary this process is. If you are lucky, there might be some colleagues coming from your country as well, but one way or another, it's very challenging. It's really scary. Traveling alone to thousands of miles away from home. And we understand that we're going to be there for you. Somebody will be waiting for you in the airport, and we will take you to your accommodation. Again, there, you're going to be very ecstatic, over the moon. You're going to be happy because it's a new environment and everything will be very exciting. And this is kind of like the honeymoon period. But once this excitement settles down and you start preparing for your OSCE, you are going to see that you have to work hard, and it will take a lot of time and preparation. And you can feel a bit, as it is called here in the chart, disintegrated, because this new culture that originally was very attractive and very bright and everything was so exciting, you might start feeling a bit tired and even a bit frustrated. And you might feel indifferent, you might feel angry, you will feel homesick. But this is just a stage, because you finish your OSCE training, you take your OSCE exam, and then the NMC says, right, you can work as a nurse in this country. And that's great. And that's the beginning of your new life, because you're going to start working as a nurse and you are going to start learning a lot at the ward, and you are going to become slowly more and more independent until you become autonomous and you can work on your own and you understand your work and how everything is done in your ward. And at that moment, you can only grow and grow and grow. And it's a fantastic situation to be at and a wonderful feeling. But again, just bear in mind that this is not going to be easy all the time, and that you are not going to be happy all the time. And it is normal. It is absolutely normal. Let's go to the next slide, please, because you must be tired of me already. Okay, so let's summarize. What are you getting when you are coming to East Cheshire Hospital? So you're starting with a band 5 salary. The band 5 salary is standardized, is £25,655 a year. There are 3 steps in the band 5 salary, and as long as you carry on working for the NHS, this salary will grow up until the top of the band 5. We are nurses. We don't know what a 9 to 5 job means. So we're going to be working days, nights, weekends, holidays. So obviously you're going to be paid more for those unsocial shifts. If you work a night shift or a Saturday, that's 30% more for that shift. If it is a holiday or if it is a Sunday, you are paid 60% more for that shift. On top of that, you will also have access to working extra shifts. So once you have been working in your ward for a while and you are familiarized with your patients, the equipment, your colleagues, the protocols, at that point is when you normally are allowed to do extra shifts. If you want to get some more cash every month, you can do those extra shifts. Otherwise, you don't need to. Your contract is 7.5 hours per week. What else is the East Cheshire offering you? So they are offering to pay you back your NMC evaluation fee, your CBT exam fee. They will pay in advance your OSCE exam, so you don't have to pay for that. They will pay for the certificate of sponsorship, or COS. This is obviously paid by the trust. You don't need to pay that money or worry about that money. That certificate of sponsorship is the key element to obtain a skilled worker visa, which is a visa valid for 3 years. The hospital is also offering you 1 month of free accommodation, and we have to mention here that this is single occupancy accommodation. This is only for you, and this is only for healthcare professionals. So you're going to be surrounded by people who are also working at the hospital. Okay. They are paying for your flight to the UK up to £650. You will get a welcome package with some groceries for the first few days. And as per contract, you've got 27 days of paid holidays plus 8 days of public holidays. So we're talking about 35 days. And I think this is the end of our slides. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, so yeah, you can apply by sending us an email to edita@neoprofessionals.co.uk. You only need to send us your CV and your passport. And if you have your IELTS or OET, excellent, send it as well. And we will get in contact with you and we will allocate you to one of our recruitment consultants. You can also go to our webpage, neoprofessionals.com, where you're going to find all the jobs that we are listing at the moment. I strongly recommend the ones for East Cheshire Hospital because they are genuinely one of the best packages in the country at the moment. But you can also reach out to us in Facebook, Instagram, anywhere. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them any way you want. Now, if anybody wants to say anything from the trust, do you want to expand on anything that we have talked about, or if you want to go through any specific slide, just let us know and we will go back to that slide and you can talk about whatever you want.
I'd like to just say something, a little bit more detail about what support we give you during this process, but also the types of training that you can access afterwards. So initially, you would be based off site and would get 6 weeks of OSCE practice by a team of people that just do that with you for 6 weeks. Then when you've done your OSCE, you come over to the trust. So you would then be finding accommodation in Macclesfield itself. And then we start over the next 4 weeks. We do lots of training sessions, but you also work a few days on the ward. So you're getting a bit of experience to put your skills into practice, but also you've still got some time where you're still learning our policies, our procedures, what type of equipment, etc. we use. After that, you get another 6 weeks or so support where Dawn's team, I'm sure she'll talk a little bit more about that after, come out and visit you on the ward. This is additional support to what you get on your own ward or department that you're working on. And they help you to get all your competencies and the various skills signed off. They help you with any issues you're having. If you're struggling with anything, they can use our simulation thing to help particular skills that you're struggling with. Once you've done that and you've settled in, we have a huge different array of training that you can do. Some is in-house courses on things like end-of-life care, dementia. We have simulation courses which are run in-house. And then we also have some nationally recognised courses that we run, such as immediate life support. For those in very acute areas, we might even put you on to advanced life support. So there's a range of things there. Other courses that are virtual courses that we commission. We have a huge packet of e-learning, and we have things like leadership courses that can be done for free online. And then we get things that happen in the trust. So that might show that we need to do certain training on a new device we're using or a new policy. So there's lots of things like that just appear every now and again. It means that really once you join us, you never actually stop learning. And I'm going to see if Dawn would like to say something about our simulation suite, seeing she leads on that for us, and she leads the team that supports you on the wards and departments.
Yeah, so what would happen is once you've left Julie, you would come to me and my team. I have 2 members of staff that are specifically for you guys. So one of them is a gentleman named Ben, and I've got a lady called Holly who's joining me this week. They literally will come and work alongside you. So you'd get a 6-week supernumerary period where we would come and work alongside you. We would help you with anything that you were struggling with, because we know there is going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid to speak up and let us know if you're unsure of something. We appreciate things do become very overwhelming. It is a small hospital, but it's a busy hospital. Always something going on. And it's just letting people know that you might not be too sure, and we can get you the correct support, so that it doesn't become a problem later on. If it does become a problem later on, don't panic. Again, we are still there. You can still come and have a chat to us. We can still go through the things that are concerning you, and we can be there to support you with whatever you need. From a simulation point of view, we have quite a high-tech simulation suite. So I don't know if that's anything that anybody has actually got in their own countries. But we offer all sorts of different courses. I think I was saying before, so if anybody's joined later on, we can go through any clinical situations that might have been a concern or a worry. We can run sort of all sorts of different situations there. We've got some very fancy mannequins that can do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. We can create a particular environment for you, so we can put lots and lots in place in your initial stages of being with us to try and get you into the swing of the East Cheshire way.
That was excellent, and thank you, Julie. Thank you very much for giving us this insight about the learning possibilities and capacities of the trust. I was wondering if Emmanuel would like to talk about his experience.
Yes, of course. I sought to join this webinar because I had a few things to say. To begin with, I think the journey so far has been a success. Looking back when I got in touch with Andy from New Professionals then, and how he handled my interview and application process through the visa application and everything, the support was really, really massive. And it made me feel at ease. That was the point when I should say that the anxiety and nervousness that I was experiencing prior to applying was really put to the low, because I got very good support from Andy. And, when I got here, the support did not just end there. The first person I got in touch with from the trust was Grace Winter, who happened to be our is a recreational team leader or something. I've just forgotten the post. She was really lovely, and she welcomed us and she showed us our room, and it was really massive. She made sure we never lacked anything when we were in isolation for 10 days then because of the COVID. And anytime you got in touch with her, she was readily available. She spoke to us, and the trust had everything organized for us. So even when we were in isolation, we were still, having online courses, learning towards our OSCE, and making sure that whatever we needed to kickstart in the trust was put in place for us. And when we finally got out of isolation and we started the training, when we met Julie Brown and her team, all our fears, particularly myself, I think a lot of the fears that crowded me about, coming to a new place, coming to learn new things, what their culture of practices in their hospitals. There were a lot of things that you would think of, but Julie and her team made sure that we had every bit of information that we needed to make sure that we go through the OSCE training successfully. I believe particularly also because we were the first cohort, they made sure that they put in a lot of details into our training. There were a lot of things that I should say we actually needed for the ward, but not the OSCE. They made sure we had all of that information. Not necessarily, they did not necessarily train us for the OSCE, but they trained us so that when we started our jobs on the wards, we wouldn't find ourselves wanting. And it was something massive, and I should say it was marvelous. So when I got to the ward and I began seeing the things practically as they were, it was just as Julie and her team had taught us. So it was really easy getting by and getting things done. For instance, when they taught us something like phlebotomy, taking blood samples, and when I got the opportunity to do my first one, I really did not panic because I felt I had some sort of confidence put in me by the team, and it was really easy getting it done. From the training team and getting into the ward, the experience so far has been very great, because in this trust, on my ward in particular, I can't talk of other wards because I don't know what pertains there, but on my ward, my manager, for instance, has been very, very helpful. She is so flexible, even though firm. She's been so flexible, and she makes sure she's always down to earth, make sure that whatever questions that you pose to her, she takes time to, take you through it and make sure that you get the right information. And they have made it appear to me that no question is stupid, in quote, because, it is a new place and there are a lot of differences if I compare it to how things were back home. So no question is stupid in their eyes. And so when you ask a chance, they give you the platform and they teach you. So I must say I have enjoyed a really great support from the people around, from the trust, from new professionals, and I am settling in well now. This is my first year. I have gone through my first year. I'm in my second year now, and I must say I am enjoying the stay. When it comes to the hospital, I don't really have a lot of issues and concerns because if there are any trainings that needs to be done, as soon as you send an email to the training team, they give you a schedule, a time, and if you're available, you go and they take you through it. I recently had my blood transfusion training with Amanda, and I have had the chance to do my first practice on the ward, and it was massive. I just got it done with a little support. So it's really, really great working in this trust, to be honest. I can't fake it. I have enjoyed a lot of things here. It's just come to the matter of, your personal life when you are living in the community itself. We have, different values back home, and you come here, you have to learn new things as well. So that is the only bit that is quite challenging. But apart from that, if I should separate, life in the hospital from life in the community, I must say I have really enjoyed a great deal in the hospital, and I thought I wouldn't hide this. I will come in today and share it. So that's my story so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. That was excellent. That was excellent. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That's really lovely to hear. And I don't think we actually haven't met, but I know you've been, my colleague Grace, I know as you've mentioned, supported her.
Yeah.
So much, and I just wanted to echo what you've said in terms of, and what Julie and Dawn have said around, obviously there is the training and clinical support, but there is also that support for you in relocating to the UK and settling here and adjusting. As the graph that Jamie showed, you can go through a number of emotions, and we recognise how it's such a big impact and change for you. It's a life-changing experience, and we want to make that the best it can be and a good one for you for starting a new chapter in your life in the UK. So we welcome you to East Cheshire.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. That was excellent. Thank you very much for joining us today. So if you are happy, we are going to answer a few questions that we had in the chat. So starting from the beginning, Kishana was asking about professional growth, advancement in the trust. I think this has been answered. You've got plenty of opportunities to grow, develop, and specialize, and you've got a wonderful educational team there to support you and help you understanding where you want to be and helping you get in there. Vinay, you are asking very specifically for a specific trust. Send us an email to edit@newprofessionals.co.uk, and my colleague there will reply to you about vacancies in the different areas of the country. Okay, so for East Cheshire, we need to have before the interview the curriculum, the CV, the passport, the IELTS or OET, one or the other, unless you come from somewhere like Trinidad and Tobago or St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the CBT. We understand that there are many delays lately with booking CBT, but we can also accept or consider you for interview if you've got your CBT booked. So if you don't have it before the interview, but you've got it booked, that's proof enough. You just need to let us know. You send us a screenshot showing that you've got your CBT booked, and you can attend an interview with East Cheshire. Beverly is asking if it would be possible to apply while you are working as a senior care assistant in the UK. This situation is a bit different, and we would need to analyze it in a case-by-case scenario. I don't know if that made sense, but we would need to read your CV and chat with you, and then finding at what point you are, and we will see what's the best way to support you. So Beverly, send us an email to edit@newprofessionals.co.uk, and we will attend your question and guide you further. Vinay, I believe I answered you a minute ago. Student 585 is asking if there is a specific amount of years that you need to spend working for the hospital. So when you are hired by the trust, you get a conditional offer letter, which becomes a permanent one as soon as you pass your OSCE and you become a nurse. And what they are offering you is a permanent contract. So if you want, you can work for East Cheshire until you retire. There is this document called Certificate of Sponsorship. That document is the trust presenting all your information to United Kingdom Visas and Immigration and requesting from them a 3 years worth of visa. So the trust is expecting you to spend at least 3 years with them. If for any reason, because life happens, if for any reason you decide to leave the trust before those 3 years have passed, you can speak with your team, you can speak with the ward manager, and you can explain the reasons why and discuss why this decision was made, and then the trust will guide you and let you know how to resolve the situation and how to move forward. Okay, you can always count with this wonderful team to guide you and support you. Okay. My work here in Kuwait is in special care baby unit. Do you have this area in the UK? This is I can't remember how it is called. Is it SCABU, I think is in the UK. We've got SCABU units I don't think we are recruiting for East Cheshire for SCABU, but because this is kind of a very specialized area, send us an email to edit@newprofessionals.co.uk and we will be able to guide you further, because that is a very specific unit and you're looking for something very specific. But I believe we can help you finding the right job for you. Any more questions? How do you book the CBT? So when you start your NMC application, you will find that you've got a link where, so it could be on your personal web page in the NMC, and you've got a link to, I believe it's called PersonVue or PersonVue, and that's the area where you book your CBT. Okay, that is a test that you do from your country, and you do it online. Well, this is a good question for the team. So which hospitals are you recruiting specifically in the trust?
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, so we're recruiting to roles that are based at Macclesfield District General Hospital. So that's our main site. We do have other smaller sites as well as part of our trust. That's over in Congleton, which is a town similar size to Macclesfield. It's probably about 20 minutes drive from here by car. We have our Aston unit that's based there, and that's more of an intermediate care unit. So making that transition from having specialised care in the hospital and then moving back out into the community. We have clinics around the sort of smaller clinics in the Cheshire area, but our immediate vacancies are based at Macclesfield Hospital.
Thank you very much, Gemma. Glory is asking if you can move from medical unit to ICU. Yes, you can, but personally, from both my experience as a nurse who migrated to the UK and my experience as a recruitment consultant first and now project manager, is learn to walk before you run. Bear in mind that when you come to the UK, you are coming to a most likely completely different healthcare system. So you will need to get used to how things are done in the UK. You will need to attend a lot of training and a lot of courses. And it will take you easily a year or potentially a bit more to get settled and familiarized with working in the UK. If at that point you are still keen to move to a critical care environment, there are plenty of opportunities to do so. So again, speak with your band 6 or band 7, speak with your team and ask them for guidance, and they will help you understanding what the next steps in the process are and how you can get where you want to be at. Because at the end of the day, what we want is for you to be happy, but also we want to make sure that it is safe for both patients and you. We don't want to throw you into the deep end. We want you to learn to swim first, and then you can move to whichever area you are interested in. Vicky is also there, able to answer any questions.
Yeah, can I say as well, we have had people come and start on ICU before. It is a huge change because everybody does things very different. But as people progress, and everybody will take a different amount of time to, like Jamie has said, some people take a longer time than others to adapt. Just because we have got you on a medical ward or a surgical ward, we are open to discussing at later dates throughout your journey about moving within the hospital to different wards or different departments. And vacancies are changing all the time. It's obviously dependent on vacancies, but it's not impossible to maybe 18 months or a year in to move to a different area if you are capable of doing that and it's safe for patients and we have a vacancy at that time. So it is something that we do consider, isn't it, Gemma?
Sorry, just unmute myself. Yes, definitely. Yeah. And also movements from once you've started with us, you know, into different areas as well, exploring different specialties. We have our internal transfer process so that if you find that actually you would like to explore and learn a little bit more or specialise in a different area, then there is that opportunity to explore and learn different areas, different specialties. And I think the size of our trust lends itself to that as well, in the fact that you can, as Julie mentioned before, around get to know people from other areas and other specialties, and that can help in that transition in moving about to different areas, and also then supplementing that through our simulation centre as well, in learning different training, different specialised skills for the different areas through our simulation centre as well.
I think one of the big things for me as well is that when you join the trust, we will expect you to be completing a core set of competencies. So it will be things like medication rounds, it will be things like wound care, it will be things like venipuncture. What I would be loving is for you all to get these signed off nice and quickly. We appreciate you all come from clinical backgrounds in your home countries, but obviously we just need to check that you are doing it to the NMC standard for the UK. But this also really does go towards if you wanted to move areas, so say you wanted to move off a medical ward into another specialty, then we would take into account whether all these competencies had been completed. The other thing, like Jamie was saying, about picking up extra hours and overtime, again, we would really like you to have completed all your competencies so that we know you're safe if you are going to go off and work on another ward. So it's not us trying to hold you back from your absolute potential. It's just there to keep you guys safe, so that we know if anything happened, we can turn around and say, well, you were actually competent at whatever skill it was. So that would just be my plea, that when you get that paperwork pack, when you start with us, that you do start working your way through them nice and quickly. Myself, my team, Julie's team, definitely do spot checks, and we will try and help you out as far as we possibly can for being that person just to supervise. It might be that you worked in a phlebotomy clinic where you are, and actually, we'd only need to see you do one and we're more than happy to sign you off as competent. So it's not, we're not sort of taking you back to being a student all over again. We're just checking that you're safe. So that is one big thing, that if you want to start moving around, please have your competencies completed.
In there. I am a critical care nurse, and in Spain I started working as a critical care nurse, and when I arrived to the UK, it took me, I think it was 1 year and 3 months before I moved to critical care, because even though in Spain we are trained to know how to do venipuncture and giving blood transfusion and catheterization and all these skills that I'm sure most of you will have, but things in the UK are always done or following the gold standard, and that might be different to lay it down. Sorry, my dog is trying to take the protagonism. So things in the UK might be done differently to how they are done back in your home country. So it took me 1 year to gather all of these skills and build a portfolio that was good enough for me to feel confident working anywhere. So after that 1 year, I felt ready to work in cardiac or renal or A&E or critical care. And I think that time is really necessary. I understand that you might want to go to critical care straight away because that is where your heart lies, but give yourself time. This is a huge change in your life. It's a leap of faith. And you need to learn to manage many things, both physically, intellectually, emotionally. So give yourself time, but then you will be able to specialize and achieve what you want. Wow, wonderful, Vicky, answering the next question. So somebody is asking about whether you train anesthetic nurses, and we've got confirmation from Vicky that they, ECH, take nurses that are already anesthetic trained, but if you don't have the qualification, that is the same as the UK qualification, you would have to work in one of the other areas of theatre for a couple of years first, and then they will send you on a training course if the anesthetic vacancy arises. And I was just reading this because sometimes people don't have access to the chat for the recording. Thank you very, very much, Vicky. Thank you for the explanation. Craig.
I was just thinking, thank you, Jaime, and everybody for tonight's presentation. It was great, thank you. But then you always are, Jamie.
Everybody has done a great job, and I'm delighted to have you all here. Gemma, Julie, Don, Vicky, Emmanuel, thank you very, very much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure having you here. And as you can see, this is the wonderful thing that you are going to get to meet when you come to the UK. So if you haven't done it yet, send us an email to edita@neoprofessionals.co.uk or through the web page. Go to neoprofessionals.com, go to the jobs tab and search for East Cheshire Hospital. You will see there everything that they are offering you, all the details of the job offer. And I think you can also see when the next interviews are, but if not, it doesn't matter. Apply now. We will get in contact with you, and your recruitment consultant will explain about any questions, any doubts that you may have, and will help you book in your interview for East Cheshire. And I'm going to answer just one more question, which is Glory's question. And this is, how is the cost of living in East Cheshire? I'm going to give my perspective, but feel free to give yours from the trust point of view. I have lived in the north and the south. I have lived in near East Cheshire when I first arrived to the UK, and then I have lived in Oxford in the south. The cost of living in East Cheshire, or in Macclesfield and well, the surroundings, is very, very good. It's really affordable. There are things that are going to be expensive everywhere in the UK, like childcare. This is something that unfortunately is across the country significantly expensive. But overall, the cost of living in this specific area is significantly lower than living in the south. And we are talking about potentially 40%, 35% cheaper than living in the south. So I personally think and feel, and I might be wrong, this is the best area that you can go to when you move to the UK. When you need to get settled in the country, I wouldn't choose any area other than East Cheshire or Chester. But please feel free to answer the question.
I can definitely reflect in what Jamie's just saying. I'm from around this area anyway, but I've also lived in the south of the country down in Dorset, so not far from London, and it is ridiculously expensive down there. So in comparison to somewhere like East Cheshire, around the Macclesfield, Cheshire area, it is an awful lot cheaper. However, you know, like Jamie's saying, please do be prepared that there are certain things that are quite expensive. So having a little bit of a contingent with some money, so that you don't get too many nasty surprises. There shouldn't be many, but let me say childcare is quite expensive. But yeah, there is definitely a big difference between the north of the country and the south of the country.
Yeah, we also have excellent schools in the area, both for young children and for those in the more adult type age groups, the teenagers through to the colleges, and that there's very good sites, very local to the hospital for families with children.
Wonderful. I think we might finish the presentation here. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask us. Send us an email, even if it is just to ask us a question. Please feel free to do that. We'll be more than happy to answer that for you, okay? Once again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, to all of the presenters and obviously also to all of the attendees. We are looking forward to getting to meet you all soon. Thank you, team. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.